Hi, welcome to my humble abode for the next week. So I'll explain to you what happened. I was traveling around Europe and I wasn't supposed to go home until April 15th. And I was supposed to be in Italy for 2 months before I flew home. And I was there for 2 weeks, loved it. I loved the town I was staying in, Bergamo. But last week, they announced the first cases of coronavirus in the Lombardy region, which is where I was staying. And then I was like, okay, I guess I can't take my day trip into Milan, and no public transportation, no big public spaces. And then, so that was, I don't know, Wednesday or something. And within just a matter of a few days, it went from like 3 cases to almost 150, and now it's, I don't know, I think close to 300. And then Sunday, the family I was staying with, the lady told me that, oh, they're testing for people for coronavirus in Bergamo. Later that afternoon, we found out that they were positive, and they had already been closing down entire cities in Italy, like quarantining off the entire town so that nobody could go in or come out of them. And I didn't want to get trapped in Bergamo. They were shutting down everything, museums, schools, churches, carnival, like everything was being shut down except, I don't know, cafes and grocery store. So it's like I couldn't do anything, I couldn't go anywhere. If more cases grew, which seems to be the trend, whenever there's a case somewhere, it like suddenly blows up to within days, like, I don't know, goes, crazy. So I didn't want them to quarantine off Bergamo and me be trapped, or like, I don't know, other countries shutting off trains or planes coming into their countries so that I'd be stuck in Italy or getting quarantined in some government-controlled building somewhere, like, oh, you've been in this area, now you have to be in quarantine. So that night, after they announced it, I booked a flight to Germany at 10:30 that night and left the next morning, and I didn't have time to get a mask, nothing, so I was sweating like a pig at the airport because I had all these layers and like scarves wrapped around my face and my heavy backpack and everything. It was so annoying. And then they delayed my flight by 3 hours. So I was sitting at the airport and people just have awful hygiene. Like, I counted about, out of every 50 people, about 10 were wearing a mask or a scarf around their mouth. And a lot of people would like sneeze or cough into their bare hand and then just set it down, or like one lady kept blowing her nose with the same tissue and then just not cleaning her hands or anything, and people like coughing and biting their nails. I'm like, no wonder this virus is spreading like crazy, because people don't practice hygiene. They just touch things and don't clean their hands, and they cough openly and cough into their hands and then touch other things, and I can't believe that people aren't taking more precautions. When I landed in Bergamo 2 weeks ago, they were taking the temperature of every person that got off the plane. And when I landed in Stuttgart, even though it's spread way more in the last 2 weeks since I landed in Bergamo, in Stuttgart, they weren't doing anything. Like, they're just letting everybody get off the plane and go about their business and not checking where people are coming from or whether they have a fever or not, which I thought was kind of surprising. The night I left, I was like, I had to pack. I had all these things I had to do. I couldn't find a place to book. While I was sleeping, thank you, Mom, she booked me a hotel, and then the rental car gets canceled if you don't show up within 30 minutes of your reservation. So because my flight was delayed 3 hours, I tried to connect to the Wi-Fi at the airport. It would not connect. My phone would not connect to the data. So all I could do was make a phone call to my mom, and she canceled my reservation for me since I wasn't going to be there in time. And while I was flying, she rebooked me a new rental car, which I'm so glad she did, because by the time I landed, all of the rental cars were booked out. So she got me like one of my last cars available. Otherwise I would have had to take public transportation. Everything was so rushed, just from like the time I booked my flight to the airport and getting delayed 3 hours and then getting stuck in Stuttgart traffic. I was so tired by the time I got into my hotel. I went to town yesterday. I was so stressed and hungry. I got this like awful tortellini soup and these eggs, Easter eggs full of rum and marzipan, and I ate like a ton of them. I got a beer for 69 cents, which was really good. I ate a bunch of cheese, and I got this for my house. Oh, they did give me a really nice car though. It's like a weird crossover SUV thing, because they said that was all they had in automatic. So it's really big for just one person, but it's really easy to drive, and it's a Spanish car. Here's my little sporty car. I'm returning on Friday and getting a new one. Quite big just for me, although the trunk is microscopic. I love this car. It's so zippy, and when I put my phone in this little slot right here, it automatically starts charging it. I don't have to plug anything in. I've got my big Navi screen. It drives super smooth, and I've got my heated seat. Oh yeah, so I found this place on Airbnb and I booked it and I really liked it, so I texted her yesterday and was like, can I stay until next Tuesday? So now I'm here for the next week. This is my little bed area, and I got all my German magazines. This is my disinfection station for when I fly home. I'm stocking up on everything right now. This is my lovely view into the rinky-dink town of Hilsbach, but it's actually a really nice town. I looked up online, it said like 2,200 people live here, so it's really quiet. And this is my workstation, and I take my temperature twice a day just to make sure I'm like not catching a fever or anything. So far so good. I'm doing a ton of laundry right now to disinfect all the clothes I had in Italy and on the plane. Here's my little kitchen, my straw for my coffee. In the fridge, I have this Bavarian beer. Got my bio yogurt, my cafe lattes. I've been having pancake soup at night because it's my favorite soup. And I found French cheese at the grocery store, so I was missing my stink cheese since I left France. Salad, it looks like it's in a dog bowl. My chicken broth. Blueberries for antioxidants, vitamin C. And this is my station for all my immune boosting supplements to stay healthy for the flight. And this is my my bag of chocolates. I keep buying chocolate because I love German chocolate. I still have confetti stuck on my coat from Fasching. I can't get it off. So here's my little bathroom. I bought these fun masks at DM for 60 cents each, so I've been putting a mask on every night. It's really fun. My toothbrush station and the shower. I'm just like kind of doing a self-quarantine, I guess, for myself, and because I don't want to be around others right now, because now they have cases in Baden-Württemberg, and so I want to keep my distance from people. And I don't know if I'm somehow carrying the virus or something. I mean, there's people that don't have symptoms and they're carrying it. I feel fine. My temperature is normal, so I think I'm fine. But, you know, I think it's just being a good citizen to do that. So I've just been in this place, like, working and driving around. And I love driving in Germany. I love being in Germany, and I know there's like still so many places in Europe I haven't seen, And this is my 7th time in Germany, but I can't help it. I just love Germany. But I guess now it's like I'm really solo traveling because I was in France for 3 months, but I was doing work away, and I was in Italy and doing work away, and I was in Spain, but Brittany was with me, and now I'm like have nobody, and I just have this rental car by myself and just driving around, and it's kind of fun though. I don't know what it is about this time of year either, like late February, early March, there's always something going on. Like when I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, that was in March. A few years after that, in March, I had eye surgery, major eye surgery. The year after that, last year, I broke my ankle at the end of February and had surgery in March. Now it is the end of February, almost March, and there's this crazy coronavirus, and I had to cut my European trip short. There's some like planetary stars alignment going on every year at this time of the year, because there always seems to be bad things happening around this time of the year. I wonder what it's going to be next year. When I was in France, the entire time they were having these like major protests. It looked like a civil war in Paris. They were lighting cars on fire and like smashing windows and destroying property and protesting, and like trains and buses were being shut down, and the big stuff was happening in Paris, but even Rennes was having like big protests and stuff. Then I left France and I went to Spain, but that was fine. And then Italy, they had the coronavirus in the region and in the town I was staying in. Then I come to Germany. I'm in Baden-Württemberg, and like one day after I arrived, my mom said, oh, they now have a case in Baden-Württemberg. I'm like, I guess I have a knack for picking the wrong place. I'll also explain my dilemma for like deciding to leave Germany next week. So I already had a flight scheduled for April 15th, and to change it would have been $130 plus any cost difference. And first of all, I don't want to go home. I'm not ready to go home. But the thing is, I don't really have anywhere to go. So I'm staying at like Airbnbs and hotels, and I have this rental car. So the costs are adding up really fast. Even if I were to find another workaway, like I have to disclose to people that I've been in the Lombardy region, because if they're not comfortable with that, then, you know, they have to know. So the thought of trying to find a new workaway place and maybe nobody would even want to host me, it's just too much, and I'm tired. I'm sick of moving around, making all these decisions all the time. It's like tiring. I could either come home next week, which would be more expensive to change my flight, or wait another week, which would be cheaper to change my flight, but then you have to think about the cost of lodging and the rental car, and so that adds up. And the other thing is, this virus is spreading so fast that I think the sooner I can fly out and not be on planes anymore and be near my family, the better. So I went ahead and changed my flight to next week, and I like cried before I changed it. So did not want to come home, but I guess that's just the way life goes sometimes. So hopefully come back after the virus has died down. That's my plan. So we shall see. But it was not an easy decision for me to make to come home next week already. I was not prepared for that. What I was planning on doing was coming home in April, going storm chasing, and then coming back to Europe. I gave up my lease. I sold all my furniture, got rid of most of my clothes, and I was just gonna stay at my parents' for the couple weeks before I left for storm chasing and then come back to Europe. But now that I'm coming home early, I have to stay at my parents', and because I was in the Lombardy region and because I'm flying again on a long flight, they're like think, you know, that I could be exposed again if I wasn't already exposed in Lombardy and Bergamo to the virus. So they're making me do a quarantine when I get home, and they're setting up my Opa's pop-up tent trailer in the dog run. And they're like, you can use the outside fridge, and like there's a bed and a mini kitchen in there, and like we'll quarantine off the downstairs bathroom for you to use. They don't want me to hold the dog. At first my mom said that if I wanted to hold him or spend the afternoon with him, then she could wash him afterwards. But now she thinks that I just shouldn't touch him at all until we know for sure, because the animals, it can like be carried on them according to the CDC. So now I can't even like hold Shotzi or anything. I just have to live in like a tent trailer for weeks. That was another reason why I probably didn't want to go home. Because I'm not done traveling, I'm not done in Europe, and I don't want to go live in a tent trailer.